welcome everyone to the second talk Beyond Frames by Mister Spex. For everyone who already joined our first talk, I'm still here, so sorry for that. And for everyone joining fresh and new, I'm Lena Lademann, and I may co-host today's talk with our great new guests, such as, I will start with Erik Lindmark. He's the co-founder of Eyewear, the leading sustainable eyewear brand in Scandinavia. That's definitely a title. Hello, Erik.
Hi. Nice to be here with you guys.
So good to have you. Next one will be Thibaud Guyonnet. I hope I pronounced everything correctly. He's the creative director and head of Buying Wooster, a culturally empowered, creatively driven concept space located in the heart of Berlin-Kreuzberg. I personally love that. Hello, Thibaud.
Hello there. Thank you so much for having me.
So good to have you. And last but not least, happy to have you back on my side again, Mirko Caspar, the co-CEO of Mister Spex.
Hello, hi there. Big fan of both brands, obviously, EOE and also Wooster, absolutely.
I'm really happy to have you all here today. It actually wouldn't be a proper expert talk if we wouldn't talk about sustainability, since that obviously is a topic that is still important to be discussed. So we will highlight the question today, sustainability, a trend that is here to stay. So sustainability is an overreaching topic that affects everyone. So protecting the environment should be in everyone's interest, actually. And that's why sustainability has become one of the most important holistic impacts in the last years, from macro to mega trend. So my first question would go to you, Thibaud. How exactly does the sustainability trend affect your business as head of buying and creative director of Wooster? Like a concept store that has developed a unique look and selection of products, mainly hot drops and limited editions. Do other trends and it pieces have to clear the way for the sake of sustainability?
For us as a retail partner, it's a bit different because obviously we're not part of the production process. Our approach is through our selection, like you said. So we can have an impact on our customers through our selection and trying to educate our customers through the kind of brands that we work with. There are many. We do feel that there is a big switch in the way that our customers are consuming, and we tried to tackle that in the past years with like changing a little bit our buying strategy. So maybe going away from the traditional buying and going more into special projects and drops, like you just mentioned. The traditional buying is not sustainable at all for wholesale partners. We are forced by the brands to overbuy to reach their budgets, and we end up with goods that we did not want in the first place and that we have to discount and sell. So we overbuy, we oversell, we don't get the right margin for it. It's a very difficult position as a wholesale partner because we don't produce the goods. We are a bit passive in the whole process. So it's very tricky for us, actually.
But do you have the feeling, like I have the feeling that all the big players are under the pressure as well, socially political, that they have to adjust their production, that they have to be much more sustainable? Do you have the feeling that all the big brands and players you also have in your collection or selection, that they adjust their kind of sustainable production and heritage?
100%. I mean, this is not, now it's a base. It's not even part of the conversation anymore, to be honest. When we talk to our partners, sustainability is part of every collection. But at the same time, it's funny that this is part of the discussion with our brands, but they also, as I mentioned before, force us to overbuy, which goes completely against the idea of being sustainable. So I had to have really tough conversations with some of our partners actually lately, simply saying that we cannot work together if we continue like this. So yeah, forcing us to buy stuff that we actually don't want just because they need to reach their minimums for their factories and the production. The whole system is very twisted. So yeah, they do make efforts in terms of production on their side, but then how we see it, it's unfortunately not there yet in terms of strategy.
It's very interesting to hear, I think. Shifting the next question to Erik, your brand calls itself a sustainable eyewear. How exactly do you distinguish that? What makes EOE eyewear stand out from the competition?
It was very interesting to hear about your experience, Thibaud. I think it's a part of that. We have EOE Eyewear started out in the nature, actually, because me and Emilia, who's founded the company, we spent a lot of time in nature, and we love to be there. And yeah, it's a great part in our lives. And for us, it has always been important to create products that doesn't harm the nature. And actually, about the overbuying and overselling, like Thibaud was into, we, at least in the eyewear industry, I feel we have a lot of things to do. And we have innovated during the last couple of years, maybe it's almost 4 years now. We have developed a machine, like a world unique patented machine, who can make all the eyewear circular, meaning we can take back old frames. It doesn't matter what kind of material or brand, and we will separate it to their natural elements, and they will be so clean, so they can go back to factories again, and we will make a new material out of it. And by by doing that, we will minor the CO2 emissions by almost 80% when it's on the effective side. So it feels amazing, and it's how to say, it's align with the company idea and how we want to develop our sustainability goals in the future.
Sounds so nice. I also have the feeling that all the Scandinavian brands have a much better and clearer understanding of sustainability and like a founded understanding of that, I think. But Mirko, how do you feel that like you deal with sustainability at Mister Spex? Do you have strategy you follow, or what's your focus to live up to this topic?
We thought around it and act around it in three angles, if you want. The one is as a company, and we want to be carbon neutral by the end of this year, and that should, I mean, we're well on our way, so I wouldn't see anything that should stop us to be carbon neutral end of the year. And we also, in the facilities in Germany that we manage and that we use 100% green electricity. So we're trying to do stuff that make us as a company have a smaller footprint. And there's still a lot to do, but I think, so that's the one thing. The other thing is obviously the type of selections that we offer and the transparency on the materials used, etc. And I mean, we've just recently added 5 brands, and EOE is really a highlight to our collection that are sustainable, and and giving the consumers the choice and the transparency, I think, is an important factor. But last not least, and that's something that Erik mentioned also, the circularity. What we've started to offer is that you can reglaze your existing frame, right? So if you say, okay, this is the frame, I don't want to buy a new one, then we just say, well, send it in. We put in new lenses, and that's really a very competitive price. So we don't overcharge or whatever. So you rather are nudged into buying a new one, right? It's really a super economic package. So I think that's how we reacted to the topic, and it's just really important, and it's good that it's on the minds of so many people. And I think, but I think more needs to be done, clearly, right? We're just not there yet that we say, okay, it's on everyone's agenda, but in the sum of the total is not enough yet, right?
Yeah, I think so too. But like, everyone also in personal regard is thinking about how we can be more sustainable, I think. And for me personally, and I would like to invite to have like an open discussion now. So just throw in whatever comes to your mind. But for me, sustainability also means investing in long-lasting products. So for me, it's also about quality and not investing in like, you know, short-term pieces that might not have the quality to last long enough. So I think that's also something really important. And I try to consume like that. If I need like a coat or sunglasses, I would buy like one nice and good pair that will last at least a couple of years, instead of buying, you know, 10 pieces, which are a bit cheap and closely to not last long. So what would be your personal aim for sustainability? Also, like maybe company-wise, not only personally, but for your brand, your company, but also on personal note.
I think that, I mean, for us having, I think every, how to say, material that can be circular, I mean, for us having these old eyewear that you cannot sell because it's out of date or obsolete or it has the wrong color, I think making that circular and be able to make or produce a new material that has a new color or something like that, it's beautiful. I mean, every material that can be recycled and have the same characteristics as it first become when it was new, I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think that other industries, I mean, everything from cars to fashion clothing and such, I think I mean, it's how to say, it's bubbling everywhere. And I think these kind of talks is important to highlight these topics and how we can proceed.
Maybe just one question, Erik. When you think about your customers, right? Do they buy your glasses because they're cool, or and it's just, and you yourself, right? Just say, well, but this is the way we produce them, right? Because it's important for us to produce them that way. But people buy them because they're cool. Or and what share of customers would you say are really buying your products because they are sustainable?
I think we will handle it not like a unique selling point. I think for us it's a hygiene factor, and we always tend to work from that starting point. It should be a hygiene factor. And I mean, back in the days when I was a youngster, I think that most product that had a sustainability factor, like it wasn't that fashionable or something I'd like to have. But now you can find these kind of solutions and products which looks nice. It's nicely packaged with nice photos and packaging, and the whole, how to say, the whole brand identity, which exists in many companies today. I think they show us that sustainability can be fashionable, so to speak.
Yeah, I also think like in the last couple of years, because the discussion of being sustainable as a brand has been louder than ever before. And so the social pressure gets bigger for brands to adjust being sustainable. And I mean, back in the days when also I was younger, no brands, like not cool brands, were sustainable. So the image, I totally agree, wasn't there yet, because the brands didn't have the pressure at that time to be more sustainable. And now there is, they have to adjust it, and cool brands with a big image finally get more sustainable as well. Thibaud, how do you feel about it? Because I also have a little conflict in myself, or with myself, that there are so many new brands popping up, and then you're like, oh, does this world need more new brands? Is that a sustainable way of, like, you know, living? But obviously there will be always new brands on the market. But how do you feel as a buyer, like, about this?
It's to be honest, I often, when I go back from Fashion Week, I don't feel great. It's a bit stressful when you go to a fashion fair and you see thousands and thousands of brands. And I don't know, I come back to Berlin after, I'm traveling usually for a month. So I do almost all fashion weeks, and then we start to put in the orders, because that's how it works for us. In January, we have men's fashion week, then February, women's fashion week, and then we have to put in all the orders. And I get stressed thinking, oh my God, this is so much stuff that we have to sell. So we tried new like we have a new strategy now for the coming seasons. We are launching our archive. So we are trying to break a little bit the cycle and the speed. As you were saying before, it goes so fast. You have no idea. Like for us, the products are coming in, and 2 months later, most of our concurrents are already on sale. So we have such a short time frame to sell expensive products that suddenly, within 2 months, lose completely their value on the market, not per se, which makes absolutely no sense, because a coat that is 2,000 euros, just because a big online partner is suddenly 50 off, it's worth nothing. So everyone is pressured into selling these products. And yeah, I think it's a discussion that a lot of brands have also, to slow down with the seasons and not have cruise, holiday, pre-main show. I have some brands that have 10 collections a year. So actually, I try to take a step back, slow down, and be like, okay, I still like the products that we didn't sell. Let's create an archive. We went back through the whole office, and we're putting online now all the old stuff that we found and that we still love. And because we think that the customers sometimes just don't get the chance to actually buy the product on time. So for us, that's actually a big step to actually break the cycle and slow down the speed, because that's just not achievable for us. It's not making any sense.
I absolutely agree. I also think, like, also when it comes to my own work, that quantity always comes in lack of the quality. So, 100%. Erik, how do you take that also with like having so many seasons and brands having the pressure to fulfill like trends in like a heartbeat? How do you work with that? How many seasons or like how many collections do you bring on the market? What's your aim there?
Yeah, we try to work closely to our producers who make our eyewear, and we try to, like, instead of releasing in order to meet their quantities and so they are happy. We have tried to develop an idea where we can try to design every eyewear 1 year ahead, and we will release them like once every month. But we know the supply chain, the logistics, the minimum quantities, and we will try to down the road we will try to adapt when it comes to coloring or design features if it's something specific that happens in the fashion, like the fast moving fashion industry. Try to catch it up, but I think we need to, the producer, the industry who produces the products, they also need to have a more adaptive way of working. I think that's important, and because it won't work either way.
I agree.
Yeah.
Do you think the cycle is really gonna? Is it gonna slow down? I think it would probably be better, but I know Dries Van Noten, whatever, they try to slow down the cycle, right, and have less shows, and a few of the large brands pick that up, but I haven't really heard the current status, right? It seems to me there a lot of them are almost back to normal, right?
Well, I think Prada, for example, is a very good example. I'm a big Prada fan, and what they do is 90% of the collection is actually almost carryovers, and then they drop 10% the collections that we see in the fashion shows. Most of it is actually not produced; it's pure image. So what hits the store, the seasonal products that hit the store, is very small compared to the products that actually are carryover. They also started a new strategy where they don't do discounts, which is also great because they have higher margins. They don't need to produce as much, and they still make as much money. So yeah, Prada really tackled it in a really nice way. Dries Van Noten is also slowing down with the collections. They are trying to fight the online stores by only selling within their markets. People are trying to regulate a little bit everything, because it was the last years was a bit the Wild West, where everyone was doing whatever they wanted. There was no rules, and we ended up having to fight with big giants, online giants, and yeah, again, back to overbuying. That's the big problem for most of the department stores and concept stores. It's this thing of overbuying and having products that no one wants in the beginning. So the brand doesn't want it. They just have to do it for the factories. The buyers don't want it. The customers don't want it, which is completely nonsense.
Also, are you able to even sell them? No, right? Like
no, that's really like, you do end up with stuff that no one wants. Yeah. Like literally, it's just sitting there and it has no value. That's again, so we had people working on this. Imagine like factories, the brands, us, like years of work on a product that is just sitting and that is worth nothing.
I think also if people start, and they have definitely to rethink how their own consumption can be much more sustainable, brands will adjust, because it's like a circle, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm happy to see what's coming up. Unfortunately, I mean, I could chat way longer than we are supposed to, but I think we have to come to an end, unfortunately. So if you want to say something else or drop something else, please feel free to do so before we come to an end.
Thanks again for having me, and I'm super happy always that this subject is being tackled by everyone, because I think also it's always a good brainstorming exercise for everyone, and you always learn from other people and their strategies and their point of view on it. So I think every time we do talk about it, it does go a little bit further every single time.
Thank you, Thibaud. I would just say, I don't know, maybe summarizing what we heard. I mean, it's produce the stuff and sell the stuff that we do sustainably and consciously. But on the other hand, also try to get the people what they really want, so they keep it and use it, and don't try to sell them anything they don't need. Don't try to sell anyone, right, stuff they don't need just to keep the cycle going. That's got to stop.
Yeah, it's important. It's important. Thanks for having me as well. I think this is a great initiative to have these kind of talks in order to spread the word. And nice to meet you as well, Thibaud and Mirko and everyone.
Thank you so much for joining. It
thanks
was
again.
such a pleasure, and thanks to everyone who is watching, of course. I hope you had a great time, and please feel free to also have a look into our previous talk about how glasses can define style and personality, and our next expert talk about independent eyewear brands that I'm very excited about as well. So thank you so much for joining, and I hope you have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.